Today we got a very special segment. This segment is straight from the traditional values himself. This is a married couple that's been married for 15 years, who's very involved and enrolled into the church and into their community. It's refreshing to actually see and hear these traditional values at work. And clearly, whatever they're doing is working. So I would like to take the time, with no further ado, to jump straight into it. And thank you again for staying tuned with dating. Alright, so I have a few questions, right? One of the questions that I would like to ask is, what do you feel like is the problem with modern dating these days?
Me, my thought process is the thing with modern dating is, like, you see it a lot, especially with those that are younger than us. They want different things and they have different ideas. Like, the woman wants a traditional man, but they don't want to be a traditional woman. And the man wants a traditional woman, but in some cases he won't be a traditional man. Mm-hmm. And what tears it apart a lot is when you bring up 50-50. Mm-hmm. 50-50, like, as soon as somebody hears that, it turns them off to the other person and what they're trying to create, what they're trying to build. Because it's not a lot of building anymore. It's just, you need to be already established. That's what they're looking for. From my perspective, from what I see.
Okay.
For me, I believe that they're dating for self-gratification. What can you do for me? How is this going to make me look from people on the outside? Is this going to be beneficial to me? They're not dating for, I'm dating you because of the qualities that you have as a man or the qualities that you have as a woman. It's more of a, can my friend see me with this dude? Is it going to look like if I just got another bag? Am I dating her because the way that her body looks? Does he have a 6-figure job? And it's like, me and my husband was looking at it earlier. If you're looking at people who have 6 figures, a good 25% in the United States have 6 figures. Out the Latino community, it's how many did you say?
18%.
And then out of the African American, it's 1%, 8%. So it's like, really? You can't even be in that category, but yet you're saying that's what you want. And then when you ask somebody, they be like, oh, well, I'm the table. You're gonna have to be more than the table.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, I am the table, I'm the napkins, your paper plates and forks. Because, come on now. Like, you want all of this, but you don't want to give anything in return. And I think until people become selfless, they're always going to be at a standstill in that relationship.
Me personally, I feel like our traditional values are lost with this new concept, this new modern generation that's going on. The same values our grandparents have are not the same values that today's society has. Our grandparents had that we don't have an option breaking up. There is no incentive, to breaking up. If we break up, we both up. And we're stronger together than apart. I feel like today's society is so many incentives to leave a relationship and start all over again. And I think what keeps relationships together is communication, which is a big factor. I've asked both male and female, and that's always communication. But how you communicate what seems to be the issue. It seems like a lot of the time it's like, I love you until it's inconvenient. Or I love you until we're challenged with something. Or I love you until there's something else that's either better or something else I can't deal with, rather than, I feel like love is a choice. I'm gonna love you regardless of if I'm mad at you today. I'm gonna love you regardless if you feed me, don't feed me, I made a choice. People feel like nowadays love is, if it fades, I'll just move on to the next one. And I think that's where traditional dating and modern dating is different. Our values are a whole lot different. And I've asked a lot of women about that. I'm like, how do you feel about 50-50? Oh, I don't want that man. Or, how do you feel about communicating? A man should know. What do you feel like you offer? I am the table. So I've been hearing these things so often, I was like, I can't be the only one. So I asked other guys, they're saying the same exact thing. So I'm like, I'm not crazy. Somebody has to put this out there into the world because it's so repetitious that it's now the standard. And I think now our standard for dating is so low. It's like nowadays, you'll talk to a woman, a man is only valued on his money, and a woman's only valued on her looks, right? A lot of the time, and then when you get into relationships, sometimes with women, they come with 3 kids, combative, don't cook, don't clean, right? But they want it all. You know, same thing with men. Men flashy, I'm only as good as the money. You know, without the money, you're still a man. You know, it shouldn't define who you are, what your character is. So I feel like we kind of hide ourselves and everybody wears a mask. And then you don't even know if you're compatible until that mask come off and you're like, you know, that was too late. You know, so I genuinely feel like that's the issue. And I feel like it's just a repeating circle over and over again. But I like that we all agree on that concept. What is the hardest part about talking to the opposite sex? Or communicating with the opposite sex?
I know I don't speak for myself, but for me, in the past, before I was married, the biggest thing about communicating with our success was rejection. That was my biggest fear to get over, because at that time I wasn't really keen on, like, okay, if I put myself out there and I get rejected, then
yeah, it hurts.
That's a setback.
Okay.
But
I never really had that problem.
Okay.
Like, if you like me, why you over here looking at me like that? Inquiring for my brother. But I wasn't aggressive with it. I believe every woman wants to be courted. You know, she wants to be courted. But I just feel that when I listen to the younger people nowadays, a lot of the females be like, well, he has to take me to X, Y, and Z before. And it's like, well, hold on. Y'all not a couple. Why do you want him to do stuff that people do when they're dating? And if he's just courting you, what you gonna do back in return? You know what I mean? So I'll be on the phone and like, I've heard females be like, they won't date a man that works at McDonald's or a man that works at Walmart or something. And to me, it's like, it's a job.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't matter how he's making his money as long as it's legal. And for me, this comes back to what you're saying about the 50-50. If I can provide, then yeah, I want to be able to bring something to the table as well. Now with my husband, you know, we're very traditional, even though I do have income that comes in the house. My husband's like, you ain't gotta work. I know I don't have to, but if I can bring something to the table, this is what I want to do. But if you're telling me I don't have to, then when you come home, you shouldn't have to worry about nothing in the house, unless it's some type of illness, you know what I mean? But I feel when they say 50-50, then who are you giving your other 50 to? Why can't y'all both just give 100 a piece, and then wherever one person is weak at, the other person can be strong at? But you're sitting up there saying, well, oh, let's do 50-50. You're already starting off trying to have a getting over spirit on that person. Why can't you just be like, all right, this is what I have. It might not be everything, but this is what I have. Because when you enter into that relationship, when you enter into that marriage, it's a covenant. You know what I mean? You're serving that other person. You're not going to find a person who has everything that you want inside of them. Just like they're not going to find everything. But I think that God does that because it's like when you find someone that doesn't have everything, are you going to up and leave? Or are you going to sit there and be like, okay, I see this blind spot that you have. Let me help you fix that. If you see a blind spot in me, then tell me as well. You know? And it goes back to like you were saying with the communication. The way you talk to each other. I'm not going to disrespect you as a man. I'm not going to knock you down because at the end of the day, a man is still a man. You take away his pride, then what are you there for? Because at the end of the day, he's still going to stand up as a man. So you're telling him he's less than, calling him all out of his name, but yet you want him to provide for you. You want him to take care of you. And if you come with kids or if you come with baggage or all this trauma, you still want him to take that on as well. So just put some respect on it, whether it's a man or a female. If I'm not gonna call you out your name, don't call me out my name. We gonna talk. We don't even use the D word in our relationship. Who divorced it? Who?
That shouldn't exist.
It doesn't. Like, but we also know that we also ask each other for forgiveness, even when we don't feel that we're in the wrong, because we don't want any open door where the enemy can come in and attack our marriage. Because if he's attacking me, I can only imagine how he's attacking my husband. Oh, you can do better than her. Oh, you don't need him. But if we immediately, I don't know what happened, but forgive me. for that line of miscommunication. And it opens us up to have that conversation, to talk. When we're done, you give God the glory, tell God to shut that door. Now what does the enemy have? And then we keep people out of our business too.
That's very important. Very important.
We don't, if it's not godly counsel, then we not,
I blame it also too to social media and the social norms and the culture. When the music started changing and the generation started having kids younger, right? I think that changed the perspective of the younger generation growing up to what we know today. When the Cardi B's, the Nicki Minaj's came out and disrespecting and over-sexualizing your body became currency, that's when we lost our values, because now you scroll up, you're seeing naked women 24/7. Everywhere you go, commercials are even naked women. And I feel like the music and the culture and the younger generation, because kids are having kids now, and you can't teach nothing if you don't know nothing, and I also feel like, for me personally, when welfare became the man in the household, right? When women were like, I don't need a man, I have a welfare check. And that welfare check became that man, you lost the structure. Now you have single mothers trying to raise boys to become men, right? I hate to say it, right?
You cannot raise a man.
That's exactly, a lot of women think they can. And then an emotion, I've spoken to a lot, I'm mom and dad. But I'm like, you're not going to teach that boy to be a man and take responsibility. You're not going to teach that boy to regulate his emotions. You're not going to teach that boy to stand up for what's right, regardless of what everybody else feels about it. You're not going to be able to teach these things that a man can teach a boy growing into a man. The same way a man can't teach a girl to be a woman. It's so many different aspects. And I think when they grow up, they pass that mentality. I realize that a lot of women feel like submitting to a man is control. Like, there's certain trigger words that you will say. It's like, I don't want to submit to a man, and that's bad. And they want to be equal to a man, and then they also want to be the man a lot of the time in their relationship. So I feel like the balance is off of that one, in that aspect. How do y'all feel about that?
I feel the same way, because in the same way, it's like, the welfare was designed to keep the man out of the household, get the man out of the household, because you take the man out of the household, then you can control the masses. But the structure, like with me growing up, I grew up, my father wasn't always around, but I had my stepfather and I had my uncles. So I always had someone I can always go to. But yeah, I feel the same.
Really big.
I just couldn't think of it.
I know. Before you do that, can I go back to the submitting part?
Yeah, please.
Okay, with the submitting, the Bible says, wives submit to your husbands. And I think with this younger generation, they'll take traditional words and be like, oh, you have to be submissive to me. Hold on, baby. Wives are supposed to be submissive to their husbands. Like I tell my husband, God has called you to lead. So when I see you standing up as a man and leading, I'll let my husband lead me anywhere he wants to, except for hell. Wherever you say we're going, where are we going? Let's go, win. It's always going to be us against the world. And it teaches you, when you have that husband that is that provider, protector, and present, all of that, it makes it easy for a wife to want to submit to her husband, because why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I want to submit to a man who is honoring God and doing what he's supposed to be doing? I can never be equal to my husband, but I'm his helpmate. That's what the Bible tells me. I'm his helpmate. So whatever you need me to do, I'm going to be that. Now, sometimes I'll be like, hey, I'm going to start this up. You're like, oh, Lord Jesus. He said, after the second time him saying no, then I have to make sure I'm not going past that, because you can move into manipulation, which is a form of witchcraft. And if my husband say no, it's no. I'm not going to be, girl, he told me. No, he said no. We'll see y'all another day. Bye.
Because when we hear this, they hear the word submission, they automatically think control, because they've been raised by single mothers, and they've been brought up to, no man should be able to control them. That's their thought process. So they hear submission, they automatically think control.
Yeah, I think submission is trust. Alright, if you submit to somebody, you trust them to make those decisions. And when you trust that man, you actually give that man a superpower. Because now he feel like he bulletproof. My woman, I have to meet a standard and an expectation because my woman is dependent on me. And I got my woman's back. So it's almost like it's like closing your eyes, walking off a cliff and knowing that your man got you.
Yes.
So he's gonna get you. He's gonna grow some wings. If you don't got no wings, he's gonna do whatever he needs to
Just
do.
give it the ghost. He got me. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what men thrive on. We thrive on that ability to be there if you need it. You know, it's like we don't know how we're gonna figure it out, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna make whatever sacrifices necessary, big or small, but we're gonna make those sacrifices.
Yes.
And a lot of time, where men fail is women try to, come back in a sense too. You know, it's like, oh, man says left, you say right. You know, you can only make one choice, but then if you're going back and forth, no choice is being made.
So here's the address if anybody's interested in going. Is here in El Paso. This is their church. I want to take the time to say thank you for inviting me and my daughter into your congregation, if that's how you say it. It's con something, I know that much for sure. But it was definitely an experience. Thank you for the hospitality and a warm welcome. So thank you for staying tuned with Dating with Boobie.